Share with you a brief teaching here. Of course, we received the morning tithe and offering. And we're going to talk today about that giving is not based on circumstance. It's based on obedience rather than circumstances. And obedience rather than circumstances is greatly rewarded. So let's read Genesis 26:1. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared to him and said, Go not down to Egypt, dwell in the land that I shall tell you of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you, and I will bless you, for unto thee and unto their seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham your father. And I will make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give your seed all these countries, and in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. And because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, and Isaac dwelt in Gerar. Starting with verse 12 of the same chapter, Then Isaac sowed in that land, and in the same year 100-fold. He received 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks and possessions of herds and of great store of servants, and the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped up and filled them with earth. And Abimelech went unto Isaac and said, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. So we can see here that seeking to escape a famine in the land, that Isaac left his home in Beersheba and went planning to go to Egypt. But God appeared to him and warned him not to go into Egypt, but to stay in the land where there was famine. And if he's obedient, God promises to bless him with the blessings that he promised his father Abraham. So Isaac is obedient. This is the key. He was obedient. And he stayed in the land. And regardless of the famine, he farms the land and raises livestock. Because of his faithfulness, God blesses him with an increase. So much so that he is envied by his Philistine neighbors to the point that they ask him to leave. So Isaac departs this land of famine as a man of great wealth who became richer and richer, receiving 100 times the grain he sowed, large flocks of sheep, great herds of cattle, and many servants. All this simply because he obeyed God's word rather than obeying the circumstances of the famine. So our giving today should not be based on circumstance, but based on obedience to God's word. And like Isaac, we are to sow our financial seed. We are faithful to do it. And God will be faithful to bless us with great increase and abundance. So we don't give according to circumstances, but according to God. God is the Jehovah Jireh, as we spoke about last week. God is the source of all things. And it's interesting to me that Isaac had a choice here. He could either stay in the land of famine or he could go where he thought things would be better. You know the adage of the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence? Well, he stayed in the land of famine, and not only did he stay there and pout, but he stayed there and was productive. He planted his seed in the land of famine. That means there wasn't enough rain to grow the seed. That means that the ground was cracked and hard, and he chose to follow and obey God. And so no matter what the circumstance, your circumstance will change. And if you notice, Isaac's circumstance changed dramatically, and the Philistines were still living in famine. And Isaac was living in abundance and the promise of God. Now, think about that. Think about that. You could see a big difference, couldn't you, between those who are blessed and living in the blessing or those who were still living in the famine. So the famine cast him out and he left. So I want you to recognize that God can do all kinds of things in your life. It doesn't depend on the circumstance. It depends on your obedience to follow him and to give. So with that, we're going to receive this morning's holy tithe and offering.